Baptist Church right here in Holland, right?
Yep, right on the corner.
Yeah.
And you got Bellevue right.
I did, yeah.
That's fantastic.
I'm so glad that I did. Now I'm going to get your mic right. There we go.
All right, all right.
Well, no, wait. Let me see. Which one are you in?
Which one do you want me on?
You know, it doesn't... Okay.
The one that works.
Yeah.
I'll go double like I'm a 1950s
Oh,
rock
there you
singer.
go. Now you sound better. Okay. We'll do it like that. We'll just leave you in too. And then, of course, we have Steve Christie in with us as well. And let me tell you a little bit about who he is and a little bit about his background. 500-year anniversary of the Protestant Reformation as a guest speaker at the First Baptist Church of Greater Toledo on October 29th, 2017.
Yep.
And that's coming up.
Reformation Sunday next week, less than 1 week away.
Local author of the Christian book, Not Really of Us. Why do children of Christian parents abandon the faith? Which really piqued my interest when I was looking at all the information.
And that's indirectly why we're here today, because one of the first churches I actually spoke at was Pastor Dan's church.
All right.
And
Absolutely.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, and so we said, hey, let's work on another
do this.
project. What could we possibly do? The 500-year anniversary of the Reformation.
All right. And then interviewed on local Christian radio. We were talking just before I opened the mic earlier. Robin Sullivan, I'm filling in for her today. This is Becky B, by the way. And you spoke on Bob Ducote's show.
Yep. It was wonderful to actually meet him, and when I found out that Robin Sullivan, came here, that's a great, asset, to Proclaim FM.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's mutually beneficial for both of you.
All right. You were also on Yes FM, our buddies right across town. We love them so very much.
Yep.
And good friends of Yes FM, so you were on their Wake Up Morning show. And interviewed on Channel 11.
This Thursday.
Yep, it's coming up.
Oh, that's coming up.
Yep.
And what about the senior bodyguard? Did that already happen?
Yeah, that was a couple years ago. Actually, a friend of mine I went to high school with, he is an advocate for the elderly, especially elderly who've been abused and everything, and he let me speak on his nationally syndicated show.
And you also have the Blade interview, and you had one in 2015.
2015, and this is the one that came out last week for the Reformation anniversary.
All right, so you're going to be speaking about the Reformation.
Yep.
And that's what's going to be taking place. And of course, our good buddy Dan Bellevue is here. So I'm so excited to be able to do it. He said the last time you were here, you were with Rebecca, and you guys had a great time. So we're going to have an even better time.
Absolutely.
I'm just kidding.
We'll have fun with Becky Me.
All right, that's right. You can have fun. You can have fun with Becky
I just want to know who won the vote.
Yeah, who won the vote? Do you
We
know about
never
that?
got the answer to who won the vote
you guys
between
were
the two Dove Award winners.
Oh, wow. You know what? And
Which
I don't
song?
even know the answer to that. What song was it? Do you guys remember?
It was between
Broken Chains or something?
Unchained and
Chainbreaker?
Chainbreaker.
and what was the other?
It was.
And about the storm.
It was-
Eye of the Storm.
It was Chainbreaker.
Chainbreaker won?
That I do know.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
because when I came in that morning, she asked me, and I said Chainbreaker, and she said that was our winner. She said, but only by one.
Only by one.
Only by one.
Wow.
It was close all the way around. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and she said there were so many people that called in. So you guys had fun. You guys did have a lot of fun. I don't know if we're gonna have that much fun.
You and Pastor Charles were the deciding votes.
We were the deciding votes. There you go.
See, you guys were probably just a mess with Pastor Charles here and everything. That had to have been crazy.
We had fun. We love Pastor Charles.
Oh, well, now you're going to be speaking at the First Baptist Church of Greater Toledo, Pastor Dan Bellevue's church, and that's coming up. And what are you going to be talking about? Let's share this thing that's on your heart.
Well, one of the things that we looked at when we were looking at the 500-year anniversary of Martin Luther's nailing of the 95 Theses to the Wittenberg door.
Yeah.
One of the things we decided was something that we just couldn't ignore. We couldn't let pass without doing something about it. And as we drilled down on the issue, one of the things we discovered is that we're still dealing with much of the same things that Martin Luther was dealing with 500 years ago. And what we recognized is that the center of what Luther was trying to say was that concept of sola scriptura. Okay, that the Bible was the lens by which everything else in our world needs to be judged by. Now, Luther at the time was dealing with a church that dealt with power as the primary way of dealing with judgment. To deal basically with what we would recognize as what's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, and so recognizing that, Luther said, if it's not recognized in the Bible, if it's not the scripture truth, then it's not really the real truth. And so he focused on that as the question of how do you determine what's real and what's true in the world. Now in today's world, we still deal with that as a problem, don't we?
Yeah.
We're still dealing with the issues of the world or the leader or the president or the king or the pope or whatever telling you what's true. And what we want to recognize is that in today's world, the Scripture is still the valid measure of the truth for the Christian and for the world around us.
Why do you think that people tend to not go by those?
I think it's the same now as it was in Luther's time. We're dealing with an issue. The Greeks used to say that man is the measure of all things. Okay? And so our opinion, our ideas, we don't like to be wrong. And if there's something that pushes against us, then we'll take our opinion over the truth almost every time.
That's sad.
It is. But it's an aspect of human nature that I think Luther understood. I think Luther understood it because he saw it all around him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And to kind of build on what Pastor Dan was saying, one of the consequences of the not allowing Scripture alone to be your authority is it can result in abuses in the church as well as society, and that's what was happening in Luther's day. He actually wasn't against indulgences because he was a Catholic priest. He was actually against the abuses of indulgences. And one of the consequences of the Reformation was that it eliminated the abuses of indulgences not only in the Protestant church, but also in the Catholic church as well. And one of the things we're going to show is that the Reformation didn't just benefit Protestants, it has benefited Catholics right up to the present day, that a lot of the consequences of the Reformation had a positive impact on the Catholic Church as well as society. So he wasn't trying to divide the church, he was actually trying to reform it and unite it based on the authority of Scripture.
Now you're going to be speaking about this coming up at
First Baptist, right?
Baptist Church, right?
Yeah.
Coming up. And if somebody's coming, what can they expect?
Well, one of the things that we're going to be doing is I'm going to be speaking on the importance of what's called the 5 solas of Scripture,
okay.
and explaining the biblical foundation for it, as well as what was happening in the church that was countering each one of the 5 biblical solas. And then after the service, we're going to be having an open forum. It's a free event. It's open to the public. It's going to be a question and answer session, and we're going to be talking about topics, the specific things that has benefited the church, the Catholic Church, the society, and the individual, not just 500 years ago, but why the Reformation has continued on, and the importance of it, of why it's important today, and how it's still relevant today.
Right, that was what I was going to say. How is it still relevant today?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We believe that the principal ideas of the Reformation are needed and necessary today for the church to be transformed once again. God moves powerfully in different moments in the world, and we really truly believe that the church needs to be prepared for a powerful movement of God once again.
I think so too. I really feel that way. I think that we really struggle, and it's unfortunate because some of the same social issues that you're dealing with out in society, we're dealing with in the church.
Absolutely.
And sometimes they're even more detrimental.
There's an old saying that if we don't learn from the mistakes of our past, we're doomed to repeat it, and that's true in the church as well as outside of the church.
Absolutely. We're going to come back and talk to you guys for a little bit more. I really don't, want to end right here because there's a lot of good stuff, and I know you both have so much to say. Well, of course, because you're a pastor.
Of course.
You always
the
have
gift
something.
of gab.
That's exactly
the gift
right.
Of gab.
That's
He's
exactly
worthy
right.
of double honor.
Yes, he is. Well, we're going to hear from Francesca Battistelli